The cryptocurrency community has shown a newfound interest in the Ripple vs. SEC case as a result of an unexpected development. This is being done in an effort to avoid a drawn-out court battle. At this time, a federal judge in the United States is pushing Ripple and the Securities and Exchange Commission to consider the possibility of resolving certain portions of their litigation. The recommendation provided by Judge Phyllis Hamilton comes at a time when Ripple is preparing for a big appeal that will be brought before the Second Circuit Court of Appeals in January of 2025. Will the drama continue on indefinitely, or will they eventually find a way to agree with each other? The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) and Ripple were recently given the recommendation by Judge Hamilton to pursue an alternative course of action rather than going through the complete process of litigation over specific issues. In its recommendation, the court suggested that certain claims be dismissed without prejudice, which indicates that they may be reconsidered once the appeal has been resolved. As the date of the appeal approaches closer, this option can make it simpler for both sides to deal with the procedure. In an effort to prevent more claims on the matter, the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and the subsidiary XRP are seeking for a ruling that is decisive. In response to the judge's suggestion, Ripple and the SEC have until November 4th to provide a response. At that point, they will either accept the suggestion or continue with the protocols that are now in place. In the meantime, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has renewed allegations against Chris Larsen, the co-founder of Ripple, and Garlinghouse, the executives of the company, saying that the sale of XRP violated their obligations under securities laws. Ripple has increased the size of its legal team in order to better prepare for this more intensive conflict, while the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) plans to submit its key appeal arguments by January 15, 2025. The recent claims, along with those involving Ripple and Garlinghouse, bring to light the ongoing efforts of the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) to prosecute securities laws in the cryptocurrency business market. On behalf of XRP investors, the lead plaintiff, Bradley Sostak, is demanding that the court render a final verdict addressing the allegations that Ripple has violated securities legislation. Additionally, they are calling for the suspension of additional state-level claims until the determination of this principal case. In addition, the court will convene a pre-trial hearing on December 9, 2025, and the trial and jury selection are scheduled to take place on January 21, 2025. The Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit stated it is possible that the March appeal will play a significant role in determining the outcome of the case. In light of the new claims against Garlinghouse and Larsen that were brought up by the SEC, the stakes have significantly increased, which may make this appeal extremely important for Ripple and the rest of the cryptocurrency sector. Despite the ongoing legal issues, the price of XRP has remained steady at 52 cents thus far this month, despite the fact that it has decreased by 17%. As Ripple and the SEC prepare for the appeal that will take place in January 2025, the outcome of the appeal might have a significant impact on the market value of XRP as well as its regulatory standing in the United States. As Ripple and the SEC get ready for their next showdown, allies are there in the courtroom providing support. Will there be a clearer picture of the future of XRP by the year 2025? A quick update: will the civil appeal that was filed against the SEC be rejected? Ripple and the SEC are still engaged in a legal battle, but the community is celebrating the success of XRP. A great deal of attention has been drawn to social media as a result of the increasing number of new allegations that regularly surface. Several recent conversations have focused on the procedural features of the case concerning the SEC's civil appeal. These discussions have taken place in recent times. The allegations that are the most significant according to the local law. After filing a civil appeal, the Securities and Exchange Commission is required to pay a docketing fee and submit a Form D within 14 days of the filing of the appeal. Now, if the formalities are not followed, there is a possibility that the appeal would be rejected. On the other side, Mark Fagel, a former lawyer for the Securities and Exchange Commission, has provided an explanation in response to this circumstance. He reported that all of the required documentation had been handed in. Then he wrote a comment to XRP Twitter stating, "Maybe you should take a break from your fixation with obscure filing details." The parties comply, and the appeal is not going anywhere. There won't be much interest until the briefing and the argument, which are both months away, appealing the district court's decision in a cross appeal. Additionally, Vigil stated that Ripple is joining in a cross appeal of the district court's ruling that Ripple's institutional sales of XRP did not qualify as unregistered securities sales. This information was made public in addition to the procedural enhancements, since it has the potential to drastically impact how XRP and Ripple operate in the future. In contrast, the CCE has already submitted its appeal, and Ripple has until November 5th to acknowledge that it has done so for its lack of openness and its tough attitude against the cryptocurrency business. Furthermore, the CCE has already filed its appeal. This aspect of the case is still holding a great deal of significance. Related to defeat, Garlinghouse, the chief executive officer, launched an assault on the Securities and Exchange Commission. Ripple, the chief legal officer, claimed that the best-case scenario for the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) is a remand, which is an unlikely outcome, and that the Supreme Court of the United States will either sustain or expand upon the decision that Judge Torres issued. The outcome of this appeal is almost probably going to be favorable for Ripple, Ripple and XRP have been able to persevere through a significant amount of difficulty, as the general consensus of opinion suggests. In addition to the fact that the current administration of the United States has not had a particularly friendly stance toward cryptocurrencies, Ripple and the XRP community have also been confronted with a number of challenges over the course of the previous few years. Ripple and its executives have not always been the most effective leaders for the XRP community, despite their best efforts. Through the activities that they have taken, they have, on numerous occasions, purposefully caused people of the community to become emotionally distressed. As a consequence of the lawsuit that was brought against Ripple by the United States Securities and Exchange, the acts of Ripple executives as they relate to the community are being scrutinized. Commission XRP was held down for several years, which frustrated the entire community. Despite Ripple's many victories over the Securities and Exchange Commission set, and the company's best efforts to broaden the scope of the digital asset, the litigation continued to reduce the price of XRP less than on market prices as a result of the litigation. In August, 1 month after the final verdict was handed down, the community had the impression that they had been given a slap in the face. However, the situation did not end there. Kamala Harris, who, as you may recall, acted as vice president for the majority of the case, received Chris Larson's signature of endorsement. Larson is the executive chairman of Ripple. Before long, Larson made a donation of $1 million to Harris's campaign. After that, he made an even more impressive donation of $10 million to her campaign. He reaffirmed his support for her ambitions to become president of X and stated that her government would be the driving force behind technological innovation in the United States, despite the lengthy legal battle that Ripple and the CC were engaged in, which actively hindered innovation. Due to the fact that Harris did not take any steps to promote the cryptocurrency market while she was serving as vice president of the same administration that she is currently involved with, the community continues to exist. Despite Garlinghouse's efforts to be a voice of reason by declaring that the community need to transcend party boundaries and expressing the necessity of moving on from the foolish war on cryptocurrencies that the administration of the president is involved in, the situation remains the same. This is in reference to Ripple's dangerous behavior and the ongoing legal struggle that we are currently engaged in with the SEC. As a consequence of Ripple's prolonged legal battle with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the XRP community is becoming even more upset with the situation. Despite the fact that Ripple's executives have frequently voiced their disapproval of the actions taken by the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), they have not done the same for Harris, who is the second most powerful person in the government that the SEC serves. Furthermore, Ripple has a history of making decisions that have been met with opposition from the community. Towards the end of September, XRP started to gain momentum and gain traction. Ripple's irregular XRP sell-offs are generally regarded as providing downward pressure to the price of XRP, which caused the price of the digital asset to collapse. However, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) filed an appeal against the final ruling at the beginning of October. This caused the price of the digital asset to continue to fall. The cumulative impact that these instances have had on the price of XRP cannot be exaggerated, despite the fact that they have been a source of contention for a considerable amount of time. Garlinghouse's comments, which were tone-deaf because they were unsafe because I believe that if we hadn't leaned in earlier that would have been a mistake, have made an already uncomfortable situation even more unpleasant. Garlinghouse expressed regret that his team had not made the effort to engage with the authorities in the United States earlier and had instead completely skirted the subject. Garlinghouse's staff had completely avoided taking action on the matter. Since XRP coins are disadvantages, we are making an effort to compensate for the time that we have lost, at least to some degree, by our efforts. There will be no registration for ed. Ripple Labs, a technology business, was successfully prosecuted by the Securities and Exchange Commission earlier this year. The company was responsible for the illicit selling of XR tokens for a total of $13 billion. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) also asserted that initial coin offerings have misled investors into anticipating a specific rate of return. Ripple plans to submit a cross-appeal in order to make a challenge to the decision regarding institutional sales. When it comes to the proliferation of cryptocurrencies and the regulations that regulate them, both parties are preparing themselves for a lengthy process that has the potential to alter the competitive landscape